keep me down, I'm going. And if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up. I bet when I land, they gonna tell me it's lucky.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we are back for what could be the very last recap of Ghost. And what it's supposed to be, at least. But I don't know about the way they left us at the ending. They got me wondering about, maybe something else in the pipeline. So we're going to talk about it, though.
Clearly, there has to be something going on. That's because a whole lot of people survived.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it in a second. But please make sure you subscribe to our channel first. Click that notification bell and the thumbs up button to like this video. All those things help support our channels. Please also invite your friends and family to get in on the Spot Real Talk, because we got a great conversation for you guys today. So without further ado, we will hop into episode 410 of PowerBook 2 Ghost. This one was titled Ghost in the Machine. So this is I was thinking as I was watching the intro to the show, this might be the last time I ever hear this is the big rich town. And I was like, dang, we really thought that was the end with the original Power, and then they came with the spinoff, and I was like, okay, so since they saying this is the real ending, let me just savor the moment.
Well, can I?
And so I sat there and I was like, I was like getting a little emotional. I was like, this show really kicked off our channel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a shout out to Ron and piggyback on what you were saying, because I know we talked about this years ago when he did that meme for the intro, but he may have some new followers, and I wanted to tell the Power fans that back in the day when Fifth changed the Power theme song to the Trey song version, our own Ron created this viral meme, and you guys saw it everywhere. Y'all just didn't know it was the spots. And it was of this woman, and it was a wonderful world. She was breaking a record with the record scratch with the Trey song version of Power. It was everywhere. Yeah. Fifth posted it, Jill Scott, Niecy Nash, and stuff. So just in case you see that meme, you remember it. Our very own Ron did that. And I had to say that because, Tiara alluded to the not hearing the intro song anymore. Right.
I may do another one. I may do another one with this absence of a true finale, but I know we're going to get into it, but me, I shoot straight from the hip.
All right, I was about to say, we don't say what you feel, because I think, Ron, when you say that it didn't feel like a true finale, a lot of people express that same sentiment. So I hear you. So if we talk about where things kind of kicked off, though, we know that the Tejada family is still kind of suffering through the loss of Monet. And so they were being treated like criminals, like out the gate, with the detectives coming in and questioning them and basically implying that Monet got what she deserved. So that was not a helpful thing, especially with the kids all feeling a little guilty about her death. They pointing fingers at each other. Drew saying that it's Kane's fault because Monet went in to save him. Kane saying it's Diana and Drew's fault because they didn't include him in their plan. And we knew this family feud was not going to be beneficial for the situation.
Well, I like to say, first of all, that I think if anybody had the more to blame, it would be Kane.
Yes. Yes.
He ignored all the warning signs that his mom tried to give him. And just like old knucklehead boy, it unfortunately had to be the demise of his mom before he saw the light, or even if he did. But sorry about that.
I felt the same way. I was just like, when he started making accusations at them, and that's grief, But I was like, okay, Drew, I'm about to give him a game ball, one of the game balls, anyway, because I was like, he stood on business and made it plain to Kane, like, no, she went in the house to save you.
Exactly.
That's why we were there. So made it real plain and put the blame where it belongs.
Yes,
absolutely.
But I did appreciate Diana's words where she was kind of trying to recenter them, like, this is not helping the situation right now. We are the last of our family that's left. We should not be fighting. Noma is the person who really is the culprit here. So let's go after her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, Diana, she really stepped up for the family this episode. And I'm like, she needed to because she didn't. Go ahead, Ron.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Diana proved to be a boss lady in this episode.
Yes, she did.
I mean, from the warmth that we remember of Diana to a cold-blooded killer.
I mean, at this point, she's a serial killer.
Oh, yeah, she got more bodies on her, I think, than Braden does. I don't think Braden has as many bodies.
No, she doesn't.
Well, I tell you what, some of that last this murder that she did in this episode.
Yeah, that was cold. But you know what?
That represents 6 murders right there. I mean, when you do but and I felt it. I understood why she did it.
Mm-hmm.
It made perfect sense. But that's as cold-blooded as you can get.
Yeah, because she was an innocent. And what Courtney Kemp always say about the innocents in the Power universe.
Exactly.
Like I was like, oh, poor Anya. Anya had nothing to do with this. But I felt Diana like, no, she gonna feel how I felt when she took my mom. And you can see how the anguish with Noma too. Like she came undone.
Yeah. Which I gotta say, shout out to Caroline, who plays Noma, because I have never seen anybody act out their grief so realistically in this show. It was so real. Absolutely. You can feel her pain through the screen.
No,
so the whole episode she put it down because even in the exchange with Anya beforehand, when Anya was saying she wasn't gonna leave, and she was like, "If I got to drag you up by your ankles," and she was like, "I don't care about the world, I care about you," and I was like, "She is acting too."
I'm gonna give her the game ball just for acting.
Yeah,
right.
That girl.
I was gonna say, I think the death hit Noma harder because of the conversation previously with Anya, where she's trying to get Anya to go to Lagos, and Anya's like, I'm not really trying to be down with you. You're not being truthful with me. I'm not going anywhere. And she has to end up confessing that their family business is in drugs, that Noma is the head of the organization essentially, and that she killed Anya's father.
And slipped up and said, he got in my way.
Yeah.
And so what Anya said to her was like, I wish it had been you. Like, that's one of the last kind of conversations they really, really had. As she was returning back to her mom, she was kind of realizing that in order to survive, that she needed to return, thanks to Tariq's, probing to push her in that direction. But it was so painful for Noma, I think, because they did not end on the best of terms. And that's your only child.
And it's her fault. It's her fault. Like if you took out Monet, like I went back and watched 409, which I like this episode 410 and stuff, but I think 409 was probably my favorite with Monet. And when I rewatched that episode, you can see like her security was like ushering her away. She stepped out of the shadows to bust back at Monet. So I'm like, so how did you think there would not be no retribution behind that?
Exactly.
The other thing too, with Noma and what's her name, Carolyn Cheesy, is it Cheesy? I can't. When we interviewed her, one of the questions I asked her as how her daughter just levels her, and she just went into this very, she was very open and about how her daughter made her feel. Almost to the point it seemed like she was talking about her real daughter. And so it sold me with that acting once her daughter was shot and killed, because the emotions that came from Noma was just something I haven't seen in a long while. So hats off to you, darling, because you can act, okay?
Yeah, she did that.
The only one thing I didn't like about her acting is that playing dead, eyes all closed. She looked like she was already made up for the funeral home. I mean,
I do want to talk about that death scene. we kind of jumping around
I
here
know.
because a lot
I
happened
I
this
just spilled
episode.
that out because that was the only part I think she needed a little more. Open the eyes or something. You got shot in the head. You wouldn't be closing your eyes because you didn't see it coming. But
Well, that wasn't the only issue I had with that scene because we know that Noma wanted her to get back, and so her brother was basically refusing to back her. He was like, "You on your own on this one." So she went out there with an alternate plan, which involved her bringing the police. And I was like,
yeah,
whose force is this? This isn't Detective Carter's task force.
yeah,
So
No,
you
it was
know,
the feds. That's that whole scene at the end with Jenny and Sullivan and all of them, and they said that she became an informant
oh
at the
yeah,
right.
yeah.
lesson.
That makes
So
sense.
she did a Hail Mary. She said, "Oh,
I
That makes sense.
remember them saying that. I just had a problem with how they threw that in there. It seemed like an afterthought that
No, I
she had
agree.
become an informant because
I
I'm like,
agree.
that's major.
Yeah, and at what point did that happen? I mean, well, the last I remember, she was talking to Carter about joining forces to get rid
I
of.
think when she realized that what the brother was pulling out, that she wasn't gonna have the back, and when he told
Mm-hmm.
her that we weren't, that I'm not rocking with you, I'm not going with you, that you're walking into a trap, we're leaving, we're not going with you, and then she had the whole scene like, you cowards. She realized that she was alone. Okay, I'm going in. I'm maybe walking into a trap, and she probably called them up and started spilling the beans. And Jenny and Blanca pressed to get the crew and everything. You see, they were still asking about Tariq,
Mhm.
Yep.
so they probably was like, okay, it's gonna be here, and she impressed. Noma is
Yeah, but that was
billionaire.
also very foreshadowing too, with Jenny and Blanca
Mm-hmm.
coming back to the scene and always, breaking their necks trying to get Tariq. So it was to me rather foreshadowing of something to come. Um, but yeah, not to say this wasn't that this was a bad episode. It was good. I just thought things would turn out a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, 50 Cent, as the executive producer and the writers, left us with mouth-watering looks toward the future as to what might be ahead. I think
Mm-hmm.
you may have mentioned, Tiara, that the majority of people think that there has to be something else coming, like PowerBook Ghost 3, uh,
Well,
or maybe something entirely
Be
different.
something
I don't know.
else.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
yeah,
something
and
different. It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
another
different.
chapter
Mm.
because
Yeah.
it was a teaser at the end. It
No,
was a
Mm-hmm.
literally, it
teaser, so
was. Yeah, I
you
agree.
don't do a teaser for the end of. Listen, last year, whenever when Succession ended, there was no teaser at the end. It was
Right,
it was
Mm-hmm.
done.
right.
It was a
Yeah.
wrap.
And then
So
the hashtag power never ends doesn't
yeah, the
help.
hashtag power never ends. So I was
So
like,
there's definitely some more. And a lot of people online have been chattering about who was on that phone call, at the end where Tariq is kind of getting the call and they talking about, oh, well, they want to smoke and he's gonna come and back whoever was on the phone. They seem to think it's going to be Tommy since Force is ending and Power Book 2 is ending. They think that what's coming in the future is going to be some kind of merger between the two shows under a new title.
How does
So
that fit, though?
that
What
would
do you
be
think?
interesting.
What do you think? How does that fit? I mean,
Well, I think it does kind of fit if you think about Kane's family. The family that they had in town for the wedding. They came from Chicago,
right.
and I was like, okay,
so
so
they
they
came
got
from Atlanta.
contacts.
I thought they came from Atlanta. Now
I
we
was
know
like,
Dirk is from Chicago for real, but I thought they said they were going back to Atlanta
I
when
thought
Jan.
they said Chicago, but I could be
Okay,
wrong.
I could be
I
wrong.
gotta revisit that one. But I was like, okay, if they are cousins from Chicago and Tommy's based in Chicago, that could make sense because they got the perfect mashup going on right there. Um, and then just getting out of New York. I mean, the block is hot for all of them right now. They got to get out of New York. So, but that's remains to be seen. I expect that we'll probably see something in the near future, maybe after Force
The only,
airs its final season.
but the only thing that I think might dampen that thought is that Tariq, Braden, and Diane, was it, and Effie
Effie. Mm-hmm.
were looking to rebuild their empire through the school. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess there would have to be some connection there.
Well,
Should
I think what they have built at Stansfield can be transferred to any school. They got a whole platform to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and then like with the parties and the raves and whatnot, like that can be a road show.
no,
That's global. That's they doing. They're going to be the BMF.
yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. It just left me with so many thoughts. we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
just have
that
to see.
when he said that, you know, you won't even see me after the day when he was talking to Noma's brother and everything, saying that
Mhm.
he was gonna be behind the scenes. Because think about it, in the original Ghost and Tommy were on the totem pole. The only ones who really knew who Ghost was were like, Louise and the
Mhm.
folks, the
The
inner
major
circle,
players.
but the major players. But nobody else knew who Ghost was. And I think that's how Tariq plans to move.
Hmm. Well, we'll see. I mean, it definitely left us with a cliffhanger. Like, oh, there's more. But I want to talk some more about the episode as well. Definitely the situation with Noma. She did her thing this episode. That death scene, she had it coming. We
Mm.
seen that Kane got shot in the process though, and a lot of people had questions about how he slipped out from up under that car. Like where did he go and how did he do it that fast? This is power, y'all. Anything can happen, apparently.
I said the same thing. So I said, because he was like, he dipped out, he ran. And I was like, well, but they were kind of surrounded. So when did he run? I said, I thought that he slid under the car and
Yeah.
and everything. So
Not
yeah.
unless there's some secret escape route built into the floor. I don't know
Yeah,
how he
because
got out of
had
there.
he slid under the car, there would have been a trail of blood.
Well, there was blood near the
No,
car
no,
where
a
he
There were
was.
trail.
drops,
No, but
There was
if
drop.
but
you
it
were to
wasn't like smeared like he
right, it
slid
would
No,
be
into it.
smeared if you slid under the car. I mean, hey, like you said, it's power. Power leaves us with those gaps. Um, I lived with it. I accepted it, and and then he gets up and leaves, and Effie, my my dearest Effie, she takes all the money that she had and gave it to him. I tell you, man,
woo,
that's love.
He is
I
That's
was
some
on
like,
tough
she
fire.
love.
said, woo.
Whew.
And I saw somebody on Twitter who said something like, she was essentially paying him back for when he gave her money for the tuition and stuff. That he did her a solid that way. And so she in turn was doing the same. But I was like, man, as bad as she wanted to go to Stanford and
Hmm.
she turned her money over and everything and it's basically sacrificing that dream for now to
Yeah,
back working for Tariq and stuff. I'm like,
But
yeah.
I
And
think,
go ahead, Ron.
but I think Kane said it correctly. He said, "I'm gonna pay you back," and I believe he would.
Hmm.
He will rather.
yeah.
And I have no doubt that he will pay her back. So I could
Assuming
understand.
he can stay out of jail.
Assuming that he can stay or stay away from the coffin because you know I just but I do like what he did in with his brothers. He's the oldest and he protected
Of the
them.
Tejada family.
Yeah, of the Tyler family, he protected them. He said, "Look, you all kick
Hmm.
back and basically let me handle this." And so I thought that was cool. So I'm actually, when we get around to it, I'm gonna give him a game ball for that.
No, I think he deserved a game ball for taking out
Yeah,
Noma for sure.
yeah.
That's what he
Hmm.
I
gonna
mean,
pay
not and
off.
not just taking out Noma, but actually
Yeah,
protecting
Protecting the
because
family.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
he needed to be the one to
yeah.
pull the
Because
trigger.
what he did with Diana and Drew, he just told them like, put the guns down, surrender. Make sure y'all get out of here alive. I'm gonna hold us down and do what needs to be done.
Right.
And I was like,
Exactly.
okay, Kane,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Yes.
stepped up.
Yeah. He did hold it down too. I was saying to my son about that. I'm losing my train of thought about the Noma situation because next thought. Scrap that. Because I was waiting for y'all to finish and I couldn't. I missed I
It
missed it.
happened. Trust me, it
Mhm.
happened. Okay.
Well, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on kind of where everybody landed. I know we got some stuff that we need to cover. We're gonna go back and fill in the gaps, but
Mhm.
we kind of just thinking about how things ended. And Drew said he wanted to get out the game and go do art in Paris,
Mhm.
which he kind of alluded to in you guys' interview with him. Lavelle Adams Gray kind of gave that little nugget
Mhm.
prior to this episode airing. So Drew's done. Diana seems like she's on the fence. I don't know. She was contemplating, and it looked like she had some unfinished business. Like she was looking and reflecting at the dinner table and about all these family moments. And we know she was truly bossed up this episode.
Mhm.
I don't think she can go back to a normal life after
No,
all of this.
I
So
think she's
I'm
gonna
like,
take
I
over.
don't think she's done. Kane clearly is on the run, but I don't don't think he's done. And then Tariq, I'm trying to figure out what his end game is because he's supposed to be graduating to get the money that Ghost left him in the trust.
And
I know he got to be.
The trust is
got
gone.
to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, I don't think he really has an end game. To me, I
But
think.
he still wants to be in the game. Like he wants to be in the game.
And that's it. That's it for him. That's
that
yeah.
blew me. That blew me.
You
I
know
was
what?
saying to myself,
But you know something though? What it reminds me is that he's much, much more like his dad than we could have ever imagined. And so, the irony of he picking, taking out his father, and then even Noma's brother alluding to the fact that he's going to be, what did he say? A
Like
ghost?
a ghost.
Yeah, like a ghost. So he alluded to the fact that, and you saw the look on his face, on Tariq's face, and I'm sure he thought about his dad. So he is he is his father's son, no question.
He is, but he's not. Well, he's still not on Ghost level. Like even when they were trying to figure out what to do with Detective Carter, and he's like, oh, he got this video of me killing Zion, and he's talking to Davis on the phone, and Davis made this very simple suggestion. He got something on you. You need to get something on him. Right. I'm like, how can't Tariq think of that himself? Like that's the obvious. And so in certain ways, he's not like Ghost. He's still an amateur because Davis like should not have to tell you that.
But you all point out to me all the time
the youth. Yeah, that's what it is. Because he's not. Because Ghost was on the show. From what Courtney said, Ghost and Tommy are in their 40s.
40s, yeah.
He's like what is 19, 20 or whatever. He's a college student, so he doesn't have wisdom.
I hear y'all, but Tariq he should be seasoned. He grew up around the game. Okay.
Well, remember, he didn't recognize.
He did it honest from his mama. His mama taught Ghost some of the things the Ghost knew how to maneuver and how to come up with the plans. So surely that had to rub off on Tariq in some kind of way. I'm not willing to just blame it on the blooms of youth. I think that was common sense. Like he got something on you, you need something on him.
Tiara, you sound so much like me. And it's just amazing how you've come to this epiphany all of a sudden. It's just, you know what? And I agree with you. So let me just say this. I agree wholeheartedly. But I have to say that, once he matures and if he lives as long, I think he could be more like his dad. But his dad was a lot smoother and had a lot more, street sense than what it seems Tariq had. And remember, Tariq.
I mean,
right?
He grew up and he was,
But he grew up sheltered around. They kept him, pretty sheltered around what was going on, as opposed.
Exactly.
And Noma, I think where Noma made her biggest mistake with her child is not telling her the truth, because she was old enough at this point to tell her the truth about what they did. Because how can you protect a child when you're that thick in the game? And it's, as we see, there was nothing she could do to protect that child. Now, had she known what she was into or what her mom was into, maybe it would have given her the impetus to find something else to do, live someplace else, or join her. So,
but Anya's words were very pointed towards Tariq, and she was saying, if we are not going to be anything more than the sum of our parents' mistakes, then what's the point? And she was basically alluding to Tariq, like, why are you doing this? Why are you repeating the same steps that your dad did?
Because
Anya was right.
Well, she is, but he is his father's child, and look, the man is smart enough to be whatever he wants to be. He chose a life of crime, and this is what he chose. This is what he enjoys, obviously. As we see, Drew has something else he wants to do, and he wants to get as far away as he can. Diana,
another reason to give Drew the game ball.
I felt Drew.
I felt him, but then Diana, whom we all thought would be the one that would, run at the first chance she got. Here she's sticking around wanting to be Kingpin. So I don't know.
She wants to be Kingpin though. She may do something else. Remember, I'm gonna refer back to that interview with Lavelle, aka Drew. he said Diana has the brains. He was like, he said, don't sleep on Diana. She could take over and maybe use that money to do real estate or do something like that. So she may not necessarily
But
get in
remember
the
what
family
she asked
business
her
that way.
brothers, though. She asked her. She more than hinted with her brothers that it's time now to continue on mom's, uh, dream or
Well, she
Maybe
might
aspiration.
still
So
continue on the dream, but more legitimately, not
in a
necessarily
legitimate way.
being in the mud with the drugs.
Exactly. Because that's
I
what Lavelle said. He was like, she's going to school for business. She has a mind for it. She could use the money. And I think her main goal was trying to keep the family together too.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I,
she wants to of course, continue Monet's legacy, but she wants her brothers close. She's like, we all we got.
Yeah.
I think she wants to build a cartel, and I do. I really do. I think that she would have bigger dreams than her mom had because of
Well,
the fact she's smart, and she now has the the guts to do whatever it takes.
mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
see it now. I see it. I believe me. If there is a spinoff from this, she's going to be in it.
Well, we'll see
And
if we get an announcement about that.
yeah, yeah. And it's so she may be Tariq's lady because
There you go.
she would be his Tasha because
There you go.
who would better understand? She and Effie both understand the game,
Yeah.
but it seems like now Effie is more for
Leaning to,
Kane.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean that's interesting. I also thought about Braden because I'm like, you really, really don't have to do this. Your family got long money, so
they don't
Well,
have
all
no
you
he
gotta do is
their
but he
money gone too.
yeah, and he demoted
Braden's money gone too.
Braden, which is really
Yes,
funny.
he did.
yes. I was like, dang, and Braden was
Did
not
that to
happy
my son
about
too.
it.
I said, wow. I said, now Braden did have a lot of screw ups. He
Yeah,
did.
he did.
He did. He did. And
Mm-hmm.
he did need to be checked. But I
Yeah.
was like,
Yes.
this is awful to his boy. And I said to my son, I was like, um, I said, as much as Tommy messed up, Ghost did not demote Tommy.
Right.
And my son said, what are you talking about? He killed the whole New York network and left Tommy with nothing. And I forgot about that. I didn't think about that. He did leave him without a connect, a
Mm-hmm.
network or anything and stuff. So I was like, you
But
kind of
that's
right.
but that's also at a time when they were at their worst, and they wanted to kind of split and go do their own thing.
No,
Um,
Ghost wanted to split. He went
yeah,
out the
well,
gate
yeah, Ghost
and
did want
he
right.
didn't give Tommy a choice.
Well,
Right.
yeah, okay, but yeah, okay, I see that, but
That's
Yeah.
what my
So
son was saying. He was like, no, he took out his connects. He was like, remember Tommy was like, that's your business. Because he said, remember those at the end of season 2, he was like, we got money, got legitimate business. You can have legitimate. And Tommy was like, he ain't got no legitimate business. He said, this is
and,
my business. And you just wiped everybody out.
and think about it from this perspective because Braden did that favor with Effie and Kane to get course correct back.
correct.
Now Tariq is telling him he's demoted.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, think about that.
yeah, how it just makes you wonder how long that'll sit with Braden, because he seems to be, you know, I mean, he's a loyal friend to Tariq, and even to allow or to have that happen to him, and still wanted to be a part of his
Of the
business.
business.
Mm-hmm.
That says something about Braden.
But he
I
says
don't
to
know
make
what,
money.
but it says something.
I was like,
Yeah.
wow, Tariq, because he did still, even though he messed up, but he was the reason why they were able to get Carter in the first place because he rammed the car and everything. So I was like,
Yep.
there was some clutch moments too that Braden, and I was like, wow.
I
But I
think if
guess he
we,
gonna run a tight ship.
yeah, reel him in, but demoting him, okay, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot of people who I'm questioning their end game. We talked about Tariq and Diana and Braden and whatnot, but also I was thinking about um Davis because he got reinstated. And it was like, okay, you went through all this and you seen how dealing with the criminals and whatnot can get you in trouble to the point where you almost lost your livelihood. and yet here you are getting reinstated and still deciding to clean money for Tariq.
For Davis,
Like I
it's
was
all
like, did
about.
you learn nothing?
No, he
No,
didn't.
he's
It's all
greedy.
about the money. It's
Yeah,
all
he's
about the
greedy.
money. Right.
It's
That's all. He just he loves money. So
he's greedy, and I think there is like an attachment with Tariq though, because there was some opportunities, in their plans, and he said, I need an army. He helped carry some things out, so I think he is looking at Tariq like he's a little brother now or something like that. So it's greed first, it's money first. I agree with you, Ron, but I do think that there is like, camaraderie, definitely camaraderie between he and Tariq.
I think he respects Tariq and he
Yeah,
respects his
I
knowledge
Yeah,
agree.
and
yeah.
things like that. But if it came down between a dollar and Tariq,
Well, then he had that choice in the
He
very
gonna go for
beginning
a
of the
dollar.
scene.
you're gonna go for the
But
dollar.
he had that choice in the very
Yeah.
beginning when Noma and Obi came to his house, and they were
Yeah, but he
when
was
they were
trying to
looking for
play.
Tariq.
But he's also was trying to play both sides in a
Not
very
at that
slick way.
point. We talking about at the very beginning of the season when Noma and Obi came to his house.
Hmm.
He had the opportunity. They offered him money
He did
then
hold it down.
to flip on Tariq, and he said no. And as a matter of fact, he called Tariq and told him, "No one's here looking for you. Get out of town." Da, da, da. So he warned him. So he had an opportunity to
Yeah.
flip
So
on Tariq early.
Okay,
yeah, I
I
think
would
now
say
that he and Tariq are kind of bonded, he would kind of protect Tariq. But if it came down to anybody else, Davis is taking the money.
He taking the money. Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, dang, nobody learned nothing from all of this. And I was really disappointed with Tasha. Really, because she's getting out taken out of Witsec. Tariq is like, I'm gonna move you and yes, but I'm gonna set y'all and whatnot. And he was like, I'm gonna have to live somewhere else because I'm still gonna be mixed into the game. And of course she was upset because he wouldn't come and live with them and be a family. But she had no problem with him still being in the game.
No, I think she did though, because she said, "What happened to the promise with me?" Because the end game was supposed to be he was supposed to get out the game, and they were supposed to live a normal life. I don't think he want to be broke though, because
well, he doesn't.
I expected her to give a little more
And you know
pushback.
what?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Tiara, you got a point because uh, Tasha doesn't like being broke either, and
No,
and
no.
I think what was going through her mind is, well, maybe he can get it together, maybe he can pull it off,
He get
you
back to the
know.
quality life I'm used to living, huh?
Exactly, because that
You see
Tasha
how
Get
likes
out
happy
the
she
somebody.
was?
busted
She was like, "Oh, we
wigs.
can go back."
Yes,
Get out of the busted wigs and get my my Skrilla back, get my swag back.
ain't nothing like it when you in that.
I was
Look,
like, Tasha is still showing signs of bird behavior. She didn't want Ghost
hey,
to get out the game because she was accustomed to a certain lifestyle. Now
Right,
she is.
right.
I mean, she really ain't put up no fight for Tariq when he said he was
at
gonna stay
all,
in the game.
at all.
Well,
So
she did tell him in one of the other episodes that she was like, you when he was thinking about killing
The
Carter's team, she
Carter.
was like, be better than your parents. You need to be better than your parents. So she did try to tell him that.
better how? Be a better
Yeah,
criminal or be
No,
better?
well,
she was telling him, she was like, you can't, when she was telling him not to kill a cop, she was like,
No,
I need you, she said, I need you to think about this and I need you to be better than your parents. So she did try to talk him out of it. And I think one thing that Tasha, and I'm making excuses for Tasha, but one thing that she said to Ghost a long time ago is that she knew that Tariq was going to do what he wanted to do anyway. And that's the
that's
thing.
still no excuse to
no.
let
Oh,
your
I didn't say
son
you
I
go
condone
out
it.
here.
yeah, that
I'm
wasn't.
not saying she could condone it. I don't think she should condone it. I'm just saying that just like Kane, we just talked about that. Monet told Kane over and over again, you need to get away from Noma. Noma's you can't trust her. Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
She lost her life trying to save Kane. And so that's
Yeah.
why I said sometimes with your kids and stuff, you can tell them till you're blue in the face, this, that, and the other, and stuff, and they're growing. They may or may not.
Well, one
Take their
thing
advice.
Noma said to Kane is that you could have had it all, and all you had to do was make a choice. And I think that one of the problems Kane had, or which is why it turned out the way it did, is because he couldn't make a choice. You can't play both sides of the fence. You're either on one side or the other. Uh, it appeared that he wanted to get away from his mother and kind of ride with Noma, but when it came down to actually making that choice, he chose his mother, which I understand. But
Mm-hmm.
that ultimate choice led to Monet's death.
But listen, the choice that she was giving him was Monet's death. It wasn't a simple, oh, when you get married, you become one and you leave your parents behind and stuff. She wasn't asking him that. She was asking him to choose, not just leave her behind. She was going to kill her. So I know no child in their right mind is going to be okay.
Well,
You know,
I think he could have
Monet.
avoided that. I mean, he could have said, "Yeah, I'll choose you. We can go away. We can do whatever, but you're not going to kill my mom." And I think Noma would have listened to that. She doesn't seem to be the type of person that you can't negotiate with, obviously, because they negotiated a marriage. Strictly negotiable. So I think he could have avoided her death in that regard. But at the same token, he never attempted either. So
Well,
it's
he didn't know. Like the thing is, he was totally ambushed
well,
when that
I mean,
situation happened.
but Tiffany, you got to understand that when you're in that game and you're dealing with a woman like Noma, do you really put your family up front like that? Because he knew what Noma was capable of, and he also
Mhm.
knew that the two of them didn't like one another. So I don't think it's a far fetch for him to come to a conclusion that if I don't get Noma and my mom, if I can't find a way to pull them apart from one another, that something's going to happen, and it may not be what I would want to have happen. So I don't think that's a far fetched
Well,
way to
I
think.
think he knew that. I think he for sure knew that. That's why he was never telling Noma that Monet was the one that raided the the warehouse and stuff. He was
Mm-hmm.
still protecting Monet in that regard
Monet.
and
Right.
stuff about her being a snitch and stuff. So he knew
Exactly.
what she was capable of. But I
Right.
think with Noma, when Carter called and said that they're on their way, like 409, that expect company and stuff.
Mhm.
That's when she instantly put Kane on a spot. Like even though he didn't know, he was
Mm-hmm.
clueless. But like she said, this is serious, and you need to choose. And it
Yeah.
wasn't. And I don't think she was going to give him the opportunity to say, "Well, let's go away and let's talk about this and this and the other." Because as far as she knew, Monet and them was coming to kill her. Like you heard what she said to her
Mm-hmm.
brother last episode. She was like, "My in-laws are plotting against me." So
Exactly.
there was no going away and talking about this later.
But that's when you have to step in and make a choice. Okay, that is the point in time that you have to make a choice.
He did
Um,
make a
I
choice.
think for Kane,
well,
he didn't think
he
that
may.
things would escalate so quickly because
That's
stuff
more or less
started
the
going
problem.
crazy.
Yeah,
It went way left real fast.
real fast, and he didn't see that coming. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that if first of all, if I know that my so-called wife uh, knows that my family is coming after her.
He didn't know. Remember, they left Kane out the plans. That's why he was hollering at Drew and Diana. He was like, every time y'all leave me out the plans, things get effed up. And that's the thing. And
But
that's why Tariq said, like, why isn't your son here? But
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't trust that, like Drew, like Diana said, she was like, he wasn't responsible for them coming after Carter and them coming after you. But Drew said, we don't know if he will turn on Noma either. They didn't know where his loyalties
did
lie.
he
Mm-hmm.
not know that Carter and Noma had joined forces?
No, Kay
No.
did not know that.
Nope.
He was totally in the dark. That's why
Mm-hmm.
when they had that dance scene and stuff, and when she would 409, when she was saying to him, "You need to choose," he was told, and that's why I felt for Kane because he was totally in the dark about all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. He didn't know that Monet and Carter was plotting. He didn't know that Tariq and Monet were plotting. He
Yeah.
was he was innocent in that
Yeah.
regard.
He was. So I agree there. Kane, that's kind of what gets him off the hook in the situation is that he really was left out.
Hmm.
But
Except if
you
you
mentioned
if you if you if you go to bed with the devil, I mean, what else can you expect?
True.
but that could be his youth and naivete too, thinking
Well,
that it's
he
strictly gonna be business and that this just gonna go, exactly how we plan. Noma gonna stay in line. My mom gonna stay in line. It's gonna work out perfect. Like
I,
he
he had
was
more
really
streets.
underestimating. the women he had in his life.
And
He
honestly,
was so
I thought he had
So
more street smarts than that.
he was so focused on his ambition. Like you heard
Right.
him talking about he was gonna be Nicky Barnes and
Right.
Frank Lucas
Frank
and all of that.
Lucas.
That he was so focused on that he didn't see, like I don't know, the vision of the way Noma killed Obi, her loyal soldier, in front of him and stuff. Like that should have told him right there. Like
Anybody.
anybody can
yep.
get
Anybody. Anybody. I mean, if
It
you
should
can take
have.
him out, what? Come on, you no. That right there should have said, "Stay away from this woman. She's toxic." But it didn't tell him that.
Now,
Instead, he wanted to
speaking
join
of
forces.
I was gonna say, speaking of toxic, we got to touch on this Detective Carter situation.
Yeah.
Because Detective Carter got caught up. Of course, Tariq found some dirt on him in regards to the Kamal situation. They found out the truth about him killing Kamal, confronted him with the bullet, and even flipped Nico in the process. And so, I was wondering, with Detective Carter going to jail, and I know Drew kind of mentioned something about that. Going to jail is the worst thing it's worse than death for a cop, because you can really get hurt up in there, or I mean, it could flip. I mean, Detective Carter is a dirty cop, and who knows who's behind those walls that he can try to coerce into a situation. And so I agreed with Kane when I was thinking, like, they really should have took him out if you really don't want to have to be looking
right.
over your shoulders.
He's a cop killer too, and you know how they do.
Yeah,
how they do
and I'm like, they kept mentioning
killers.
Rashad Tate this episode. They mentioned Tate Rashad over and over and over again. I'm like, why did nobody give him this info?
Yeah, I think they are, but I'm like, I just was surprised not to see Rashad Lorenz Tate
Me too.
in this episode.
I'm like, I really wanted Rashad to get his get back.
I did too.
A strange part of it all for me was trusting Nico as to whether or not he would play that game. Now it turned out to be probably one of the better moves that we've seen in Power. Getting Nico to get the bullet, bring it over to the place, hide so we can get him talking. And lo and behold, what did he do? He threw Nico under the bus just as quickly as he'd throw anybody.
Yep.
So,
yep.
That to me said, okay, now Tariq, once again, you got the brains of a AI.
Ghost Tasha.
Yeah, I mean,
but even smart enough to still keep Nico on payroll and say, you're gonna be our inside man to protect us in my new adventure with Sinead.
But see, that's also was the more confusing aspect of it, because he was involved in some of the nefarious things that Carter was doing. So you're going to arrest Carter as if your hands are clean?
He arrested Carter because he killed Kamal.
I got
he
that.
Said, he
but
said,
my point is, no. But my point is, if this all goes to trial, which of course it would, your hands aren't clean enough to be talking about.
Well, the thing is that they were saying.
Oh, I'm sure there's evidence.
The thing is, like with him killing Kamal, Drew was saying, that kind of puts us in the clear, because now
all the evidence of
police
taint
work looks right. Yeah, it feels like, so anything that Detective Carter tries to bring up to clarify or try to clear his name is going to be taken with a grain of salt. Like, nobody's really going to want to believe.
No, he's not going to be. His credibility is shot now. And Nico just always wanted to cut anyway. That's why he took the deal. I mean, the meeting with Noma. He took the money, but he went back and told. And so, if you notice, even in this episode, after he flipped on Carter, you see he was up in Carter's office. Like, he moved into Carter's office.
Like I said,
like
a dirty cop. So,
But the code was, you remember Carter's code, no innocence.
No, I agree.
And so he felt like, he said now, he felt like killing drug dealers and everybody else, like, okay, they're dirtbags anyway. But he felt like, he said in one of the episodes, he was like, Kamal didn't deserve that. He said he wasn't one of us, but he was a good cop. So I think he didn't. And then when he saw the breadcrumbs, he saw how what's it called? Carter was, he fixed that, set up that that raid, called raid on the Russian. And then when he's down there with the evidence, and then he was like, okay, everything was curious. The situation with Felicia, he was like, oh no, nah, if he do all that, he's desperate. No telling what he would do. And he was there on the scene to overhear him basically throw Nico under the bus, saying, "I'll put the cuffs on him myself." So,
Well,
the Nico situation. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
At that point, he should have shot him. No.
But
look
how
at it
do
this
you
way.
explain that?
Well, you wouldn't have to, because we already know he's a dirty cop. There's already information out there that, of course, that they had that had him dirty. Nico could have, brought to the attention that he set up the Russians. I mean, there were so many things that could have happened at that point, because you, I think, alluded to the fact that, while he's in jail, you never know what alliances that he might meet with, and he may do what, I don't know, however many years he's out, and here we are again. And I think so many people make that mistake. I mean, Tariq had several, there were several times Tariq could have taken out Carter. It just failed to do so. You put a gun to a person's face and then you want to chat. If you put a gun on a man, there's no time to be talking at that point. But, I don't know.
I think it was
and I think
so. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it was the psychological warfare, because you see at first Carter was trying to get under Tariq's skin, and he was like, "Yeah," and how you don't have it. That's why everyone around you ends up dead, this and the other. But when Tariq flipped the script and was just like, "Oh, your wife Denise,"
he was
know
bothered.
Who you were, and then the come on thing, I was like, "Okay, I see that." The mental jousting, they playing chess there, and you can finally see that armor with Carter. That crack.
His
armor.
And so I don't know. I thought that keeping Detective Carter was alive was a bad idea. I thought that teaming up with Nico, while it makes sense for what he's trying to do in this new venture, Nico, he's very hypocritical, because if you are joining a task force to go after drug dealers, how are you then teaming up with a drug dealer and accepting bribe money? So I'm like, that's somebody you truly can't trust.
Exactly.
Right. And they were doing that with Monet and them anyway. They were shaking them down.
Exactly. But I was like, at least Detective Carter was like committed to the mission. Like, for the most part, we taking out drug dealers. They of course are shaking them down and stealing money from these crime scenes and stuff. But it's like, we're not necessarily working with you if it's not beneficial to us.
And it seems like that's Carter was working with Zion.
Yeah, and I was like, because it benefited him. He flipped him and turned him into a asset. And so, Nico, I just feel like he can't be trusted. If he's to be in any spinoffs too, he can't be trusted. He's not going to be a reliable source of protection. So I was really disappointed, though, that we didn't see the Rashad get back.
That would have been perfect for me as an ending, to have Rashad come up on Carter for what he did to his brother. To me, that would have been a better line rather than Nico, because Nico is just too suspect. I don't know what to think of him or how he'll be, but I know what Rashad Tate would have done had he known what Carter had done. So,
And so I think overall we can probably say that this series finale left us still hungry. They left us on a little cliffhanger. They left some little breadcrumbs where there could be a spinoff, and I think we're still hungry for more, and there's still more story to be told. So, hopefully we'll get an announcement maybe after Force ends its last season, that there's going to be some kind of spinoff / mashup of the characters and bring the Power world back together.
It's like you invited me. It's like you invited me to your house and you made some fried chicken and some barbecue ribs, and I get there and I'm salivating at the mouth, and you tell me all I can have is string beans.
Right. Yeah. So I definitely was like, okay, there's more. There's no way that, that Power never ends thing was like a little clue too. So I was like, okay.
And the fact they didn't kill him. That. And I was like, at least he made it out alive, because I was nervous about that. I was like, are they gonna, kill him off,
Mm-hmm.
Tariq and stuff and everything. Was confused about him wanting to stay in the game because, like I said, I thought the game, the aim was to get his money and bounce and be with his family. And so when I saw him, like, oh no, he's doubling down in the game. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it blew my mind. So, we kind of talked about some of our game balls. I think for sure we gave Drew the game ball, holding down the family. We gave Kane the game ball too for sacrificing himself for Diana and Drew and holding it down and taking Noma out. Do y'all have any nominations for additional game balls? I'm trying to think.
Can we give
Iffy? We gotta give Iffy the game ball for.
Effie?
Yeah, I keep calling her Iffy,
That's your nickname
but
for
that's
her.
my nickname for her
You do
anyway.
call
Yeah,
her
I
Iffy.
do call her Iffy. She's Effie now. I mean, she's proven herself. I'll get rid of the Iffy part, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll give
she's
her the game ball.
definitely loyal to Kane, and she came
Yeah,
through for him.
she came
So
through.
I'm not mad at
Exactly.
that.
Right.
Um,
So what about Tariq? Because they closed the deal. Like he did everything he was supposed to do, even though
mhm.
the stuff with Anya was jacked up.
Yeah, that
I'm
right
still mad
there.
at Tariq from last week because if he would have killed Detective Carter, none of
Right.
Then
this would have
Monet
happened.
wouldn't have got it.
That
Yeah,
Yeah,
would
none of
that's
this would have
I,
happened. We would not be
exactly.
here right
You
now.
see,
So I'm
you know what? I definitely think he deserves some of the blame too. And at least none of them went there with him. They kept it in house with
mhm.
their beef because they could have been like, well, what happened to you? Because you were
Exactly.
supposed to take out
exactly.
Monet. I mean, take out Carter.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
So
domino effect. That
I
is
can't give
exactly right.
Tariq a game ball just because none of this would have happened if you would have took care of business.
I agree.
I agree.
Um,
I,
um, that being said, we got the who can get the hands list.
hmm.
So my first nomination, I'm giving Anya the hands because girl, you and all that back talk thing got you killed. If you would have just got up out of there and went to Lagos like they was trying to do, you would still be alive and your mama would still be alive. I'm giving Anya the hands.
Well, you know what? No, wait a minute. They were still gonna go to Lagos.
yeah.
Because Mama told her, she said, I'm going, and when I come back, you're going whether you like it or not. But I'm grabbing you by your ankles. By the time she came back, Kane and them had already hit the spot and killed the security guards and snatched her up. So she was gonna leave regardless
Right.
of Anya's back talk. So
Right.
that didn't prevent that.
Right.
Well, I'm still giving her honorable mention. I
You
know
know,
he
with a
was
back
lied
talk,
too, girl,
Wait a
but
minute.
sometimes when your family is involved in this dangerous game, you got to go with the flow.
But she got the ultimate hands. She's dead. So,
I did feel bad about that for her because I was
Well,
like,
okay. I'm giving Diana the hands too because, girl, that was unnecessary. You did not need to kill Anya. I understand you want Noma to feel your pain, but at the same time, you killing Anya put a target on your entire family's back. And so, what if Noma had been successful in taking out one of your family members or even you yourself? So I'm like, you could have just taken Noma out and let that be that. This episode would have been 30 minutes if she would have just took Noma out.
yeah.
well,
But
you
here
know
she
what?
is.
I know I agree with what you're saying, but it made me think about what OG Joke Jukebox said and Nika Noni Rose. Remember when she was plotting with Kanan in the original Power? The plan was originally, it didn't work out that way. The plan was they were supposed to kidnap Tariq, get the money, and still kill Tariq. Because she was like,
Mm-hmm.
that way you're killing him twice. So, because what would hurt more? Like, shoot, with Ghost, that hurt him more when Angela got killed than him.
But didn't Diana just go through this last episode or two ago where she realized that getting her revenge didn't feel as good as she thought it would?
Right,
Yep.
you're right. You're right. But that was that her mama. She was like, wait a minute, no, Noma took out somebody I love. I'm about to take over somebody she loved, and not excusing her, but
I'm still giving her the hands because I'm like, girl, you put a target on your family back. One of
And
your brothers could have got killed for
and
real.
at the very least, you took out someone that was totally innocent.
she was
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was
So yeah,
innocent.
she's got to get the hands for that.
Yeah, she was definitely innocent. Because even Tariq was like, he
What
was
you
like,
doing?
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
And so that makes Tariq culpable in her murder too
It
because
does.
he lured her there.
Yep.
Yes, and I know that made him mad too because that wasn't the plan. Well, at least for him, for her to get hurt, it was only
Right.
just to find Noma.
Right.
but the law don't care about that. So,
No,
you know,
no.
who else gets the hands? I think I already told y'all Tasha gets the hands from me because she did not put up enough of a fight for Tariq getting out the game.
Listen, yeah, I don't think I concur with that because I think she probably was surprised too. They're like, hey, the plan was this. We talked about this, and now you change it up.
But that's the whole point that she never bothered to even fight about. She, even though she had a plan and they seemingly agreed to it. But the moment Tariq was like, okay, no, but that plan doesn't exist right now. She's like, oh, give me a hug. I love you. And just bring home the money when you can. I mean, that's how it turned out.
Hey, that's
how it
not
turns
how
out.
she did it.
Look, she didn't say it, but that's what it all boils down to. Okay.
Well, listen, we know that's been Tasha. You know, Tasha like living the high life, and she's been in these busted wigs for a while now, with sick and working at Walmart. So you know, she used to the,
I
she
mean, to
was
tell you,
living high like George and Weezy before.
She can't take them cheap wigs. Her scalp is itching. She can't handle it. No, take that stuff off.
Yeah, she not shoot. So Tasha used to that, to the high life and stuff.
Good life.
Exactly. I mean, but I do think that I think it was a matter of Tariq had already made up his mind he was going to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah. All right, y'all got anybody else before we close out? Anybody else who can get the hands?
I'm done. I can't think of anyone else.
Okay. Well, we already know Detective Carter on the list, and I'm gonna put Nico on there too.
I was gonna say Nico, me too. Even though he came through with taking him down, I don't trust him. So
Yeah. All right. Well, this was great. This is the end of PowerBook 2 Ghost, but it is not the end of the Power universe. So, Power never ends. We expect that there will be more coming, which means that we will have more great recaps coming once they come. I believe. Of course, I think after the show or before the show, they mentioned that Raising Kanan is supposed to come back this winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when Force is coming back. I'm assuming after Kanan.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some more our universe before maybe we get an announcement. So y'all might have to hang tight and be patient for a good little minute before we see what ultimately happens with this whole story.
And regardless,
you were saying, Ron?
And I say, regardless of whether Power comes back or not, the Spot Real Talk will always be here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and we have loads of things that are up in the air and what we're planning. So, you know what we say, you got to stay here because we got it. This is the Spot Real Talk.
Absolutely. And of course, if there are other shows that you love that you would like for us to recap, please drop those down in the comment section and we'll be sure to consider those. We are also on all major platforms of social media. So give us a follow on all of our platforms to keep up with everything that we have coming. We're going to keep the recaps coming for some of the hottest shows. I know we are seriously considering Reasonable Doubt. That's a really great one.
Fight Night.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And Ron, I think you mentioned 61st Street.
61st Street's a very good one, although it's ended. But I think if you go back on the CW, check it out. I guarantee you'll be hooked after the first episode.
Yeah, so we got some things that we're considering. Of course, like I said, give us your suggestions as well. And keep up with us. Make sure you click that subscribe button, the notification bell, and that like button to keep supporting our channel. Tell your friends to tell their friends to tell their brothers and sisters and mamas and daddies. Hop onto the Spot Real Talk. We have so much great content. If you have not already checked out our playlist full of interviews, we got a boatload of stuff in there. A ton of great content. So just stick with us and we will be sure to keep you all entertained. Tiff, Ron, y'all got anything else before we head out?
Yeah, some quick thank yous. Thank you to Stars 50, Courtney Kemp for bringing us the show, the quarterback of the show, Mike Rainey Jr., who we interviewed, Toya, Tonadale, everybody, Gianni, Lavelle, Caroline,
Golden Brooks.
Golden Brooks,
yeah. Alex Lepre, aka Effie, all of you, thank you for your interviews. Thank you for a great season, and wishing you all the best.
And don't forget Braden. We gotta throw him in there.
I said that. You
should say Gianni.
Okay.
Gianni's his real name.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for watching. Be back with us next time as we come back to recap another show. But on that note, we're going to call it a night. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let go. Hey, okay, I know I'm here to stay. Counting on my wins, so I can't play it safe. Try to go against us, get you out the way. Go